Boom! Hello, everybody, and we are back with another episode of On the Delo. This is episode 150.
Sweet.
I've done this 150 times, dude.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is.
That's like repetitive. It's like working out. So I have my buddy Dom. Thank you for coming, first of all.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we were supposed to do this like over a year ago, and a tragedy struck us, a mutual friend, unfortunately, and I think I think it just goes to show how precious life is, and a lot of the stuff that you've learned and that I've learned as we get older, and the things that we cherish like more than not, right? I would say almost to the point, like when you think about stress, okay, and the things that you used to stress about, like what are some things right now that you're more easily, able to let go that you weren't when you were, in your 20s?
I think having kids has definitely, changed stuff for me. I used to stress out about the little things, and now it's just like, it seems like there's always chaos around, especially in the restaurant business.
Yeah.
That, I tend to let things go. But, still little things like getting cut off in traffic or stuff like that still makes me crazy, but not that I'm going to do anything about it. But.
Right, but you still get pissy. Yeah. And you got a truck though, right?
I traded in the truck for a Tahoe for
Nice.
the Dadmobile.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. And you got Rex and Hank.
Yes, sir.
And what are the boys' ages now?
So Hank is 1.5 and Rex is 2 months.
So what would you say having two now is the difference from just having one?
When you have one, all your focus is on him.
Yeah.
He gets all the attention. Now that we have two, the older one gets a little jealous if you're not paying attention to him. And, it's pretty awesome. He's like my little shadow. He follows me everywhere. He freaks out if he can't even see me. The younger one is still so young that he's attached to mom. She's breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really exist to him yet.
Right.
But just trying to make sure, like, if one's going to sleep, the other one's not screaming. Like, when they're both going at the same time, man, that's a little hectic.
A little bit hectic, yeah. And Holly's doing good?
She's doing great, yeah.
Yeah. Is she still working in the restaurants or?
Not really. She's a
Good.
more stay-at-home mom at this point.
Love
she
it.
helps with guidance.
Yeah.
If I need.
100%.
But outside of that, she's not really in the restaurants.
Well, that's the most important job.
Yeah.
It's taking care of those beautiful little things of life that you brought, right?
Yeah, right.
And was that always kind of a desire and a dream for you guys?
Always wanted to have kids. Always wanted to be a dad.
Yeah.
I'm a little older, I'm
Right.
42 now, so I'm kind of an old dad.
Okay.
But it's giving me a little new life, though. It's been fun.
Jeremy Scott, if you're listening to this, you're right on target. So Jeremy, who's my trainer, you may know Jeremy or seen him online or whatever. He's 41. He's going to have his first kid in a month.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So I think 40s is like the new time for men to have kids.
Yeah. I don't know that I could or would be as good a dad or have the patience I have now if I did it in my 20s.
That's a really good point, yeah. And so with that, as you're getting older, are you finding, not that you didn't before, but I would assume that there's more things that you do on a personal and a physical level to take care of yourself because you want to be there for a long time for your boys.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I'm in the gym. I got a trainer Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm in jiu-jitsu Tuesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
Walks or jogs around the block as much, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to stay as active as possible because, those kids are nonstop. So
Is that kind of a juxtapose with being a chef? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you're in a chef, or in a restaurant as a chef, you're working 10, 12-hour days, you're on your feet.
Yeah.
You're constantly on the move, but, it doesn't give you a lot of time outside of that,
Right.
especially with the hours, to, kind of take care of yourself. So now that I have, the 2 restaurants and an amazing staff and, I get an opportunity to kind of oversee everything and manage that.
Yeah.
As opposed to, being in expo for 10 hours and screaming tickets and doing all that stuff.
Completely makes sense. And then how about for you, again, being a chef, I'm sure when you're in the restaurant, you do what you need to do. You got to make sure the food's coming out right. And I'm sure most of this you can but when you're opening up restaurants or you're trying new dishes or whatever, there's no calorie counting. You're just getting it done, right?
Oh, yeah. And back in the day, I used to smoke, and you're definitely you get off a shift and emotions are high and adrenaline's pumping. You're like, all right, let's hit the bar, let's grab a drink, right? And then it all kind of spirals, and it just gets a little repetitive, and it's day after day, and it's like at a certain point you're just like, all right, something needs to change because I'm not healthy.
That hit me at about 40. Would you say 40 was?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird
just a
age
little,
for men.
my late 30s, early 40s for sure. You know, and it was like, all right, we need to make a change.
Yeah. How long have you and Holly been married?
8 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's got to be, you know, a true testament to, you know, both of you having a relationship together, being in the hospitality industry. I mean.
Yeah, because I mean, that's where we met. We met at Chelsea's Kitchen.
Yeah.
And, you know, we both moved out to California with LGO back in the day and ran restaurants out there, moved back home. She continued on and went to like Snooze and Maple and Ash as a manager. And then, you know, I stayed with LGO for longer and then worked as a butcher. And then we opened Hush in 2019.
Was it always a dream to have your own place?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something that kind of just you stepped in. You're like, oh.
No, I was looking for a long time, looking at spaces, trying to figure out what concept I wanted to do.
Yeah.
For a long time, and then you know the opportunity with Hush kind of fell into our laps, and it was like, all right, let's just make food that I'd want to eat, and that's how that restaurant came to be.
Yeah. What's so Hush has been open how long?
6 years.
6 years now. God, it flies by.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy.
What would you say is two of like the hottest items that you've kept for the last 6 years that people just love?
Definitely the Italian beef, the braised oxtail.
Yeah.
Our duck fried rice.
Oh, that's Aaron Chamberlain had me eat that one. Oh, so good.
Crab hush puppies, our chicken liver mousse, and you know our desserts. I'm not much of a pastry chef, so we made two pretty good desserts, and they've just been on the menu the whole time.
That's great.
But outside of that, like the whole menu changes pretty frequently.
Yeah, and your steak. I mean, so good.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then after Hush, you opened up Fire at Will, which is not too far, but
it's over on Tatum and Shea.
Yeah, close enough. And so, what was I mean, did you always? I mean, Cast Iron is the name of your restaurant group.
Yeah, Cast Iron Concepts.
Yeah, which is an amazing name.
Thank you.
Especially for a chef and with what you're doing. What was Fire at Will, was that something that was always kind of designed in your head to want to do?
So if you've been to Hush or seen pictures, it's very bleak. You know, minimalist design.
Yeah.
It's very small space. When we opened, we didn't have much money.
Right.
So, you know, the emphasis really was on like the bar program and the food.
Yeah.
Like the ambiance, I'll admit, is not exciting. You're not getting Instagram pics in there, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's really the focus is on the food, the drinks, the hospitality. When we opened Fire at Will, we wanted to do something a little bit more colorful, warm feeling, right? So you've got like the brick inside, you've got like a little bit of concrete, you've got maroon colors, you've got natural wood, lots of greenery in there.
Yeah.
With that plant structure down the middle. So when we opened that, we wanted it to be a little bit more sexy, moody feeling.
Yeah, and it's an open room, so when it's full, there's the energy. You
Yeah.
feel the flow of energy going through there.
Which is super fun.
It's
and an open
great.
kitchen, yeah.
Yeah, an open kitchen to see as well. When working in hospitality, you know, so long prior to opening your places, what, you know, in your mind were some things that you wanted to do differently than the way that, you know, you were, say, treated or, you know, put through as an employee? What were some things that were like, I want to do this way?
You know, I will say I had a lot of incredible mentors and worked for a lot of awesome chefs, a lot of great hospitality groups over the years.
Yeah.
You know, I was with LGO Hospitality for about 6 years, and they are awesome, right?
One of the best.
But with that being said, they are very on top of it.
Yeah.
And there is a little bit of micromanaging sometimes,
Yep, I
right?
get it.
And there's a lot of constant follow-ups and things like that. And for me, you know, some people need that, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I didn't. You know, I felt like I was pretty much on top of my game. I knew what I needed to get done. Numbers were good, right? P&L was looking good.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a little overkill. And so when I started to have chefs and managers work for me, and like when I wasn't in the restaurant at this point, now I'm overseeing that. It's like I really wanted to respect their time off. I really wanted to trust that they're doing the job.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to call you or follow up or walk in and start picking apart stuff in the middle of service, things like that. And so I think that's led to very minimal turnover.
Yeah.
You know, I've got the same crew that I have for years and years.
Speaks volume.
Now, that doesn't mean that I don't get in there and crack the whip sometimes or call some shit out.
Yeah, of course.
But I think it's a little bit more of a chill environment.
Well, first of all, that's a great fucking answer. I absolutely love that because it completely resonates with me. Like, I have a small insurance niche brokerage. I'm a small local company. I've got 12 amazing employees, right? The tenure, unless they were newly hired, which is just a couple in the last few years because of our growth module, is 12 years, 13 years, 11 years, 13 years, 20 years, 25 years. You see what I'm saying? So how did that happen? And I think you'll agree because, I mean, even having somebody for 2 years in your industry is like old.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time.
You're a veteran at that point.
So nothing wrong with the way LGO does it. That's their model. It's the micro, you know, it's like we need it's systems, processes.
And they're much bigger,
And they're
right?
much bigger. You have to, right?
Of course.
But when you have almost like a homegrown, you know, sort of thing, and that's the module that we want to live in and work in and do, when you release the power to those that are helping you and they feel a part of it, they take ownership in it.
Of course.
Yeah, there's nothing better.
Yeah, and that's how I was. I really cared about, when I was at LGO, I cared about the staff. The owners were always good to me, so I cared about them and I cared about doing a good job for them.
Yeah.
You know, and for the most part, they entrusted me to do that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we talk about the people and the local people, how do you feel about the essence of, let me see if I can phrase this question the right way. When you're looking at patrons and you're looking at regulars and you're looking at, you know, the people that come in, I would assume that you have a strong base of those people that come that
For
they
sure.
know and they do. And so how important is that to a local restaurant?
Oh, it's the most important,
Yeah.
right? They keep the lights on.
Yeah.
And we have so many regulars that we see weekly, monthly some, and then we have regulars because we're such a seasonal city in Arizona and Phoenix.
Right.
We have regulars who live in different states or live in Canada, and they
Yeah.
make it. You know, it's like we look forward to them coming back
Right.
for winter. So, yeah, it's a huge proponent of our business because they're the people who are consistently dining with us, spending their money with us, and it goes a long way.
Yeah, and I know what's funny as you talk about Canada and some of these other places where people come in during the winter because they have the two homes, they're almost closer regulars than the people that, and I don't know if you've figured this formula out yet or not, but how do you pull people from or get the attention from the people that are in Gilbert or Tempe or, you know, that want to come and have something different and get them away from that stratosphere, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. I think post-COVID, people are a little bit more comfortable staying in their bubble, in their nook. They're not traveling as much for food. And also, there's way more competition out there now.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many cool restaurants. Like Gilbert, there wasn't much going on except for Joe Johnson.
Right.
Now there's a million restaurants out in Gilbert, right? Downtown was a wasteland. Like, you didn't go eat downtown unless you were going to a game or a conference or
Now
something.
there's Roosevelt
Now there's
Row.
killer restaurants downtown. So people don't need to go as far, right? Because there is such cool stuff in every little pocket in town. But it's just constant, like, advertising, doing stuff on social media, putting stuff out there for them to see it and go, oh, maybe, you know, next time we're in Scottsdale, we stop by and have dinner.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. And you always have to put a full court press on marketing and advertising, always being a part. And part of what you do, like we were talking before the podcast, is you go out to these festivals and you promote your brands. Of
course.
And you bringing out the cooker on Saturday?
No, we're not doing the smoker. This year we're doing arancinis.
Cooker shows how much I fucking know.
No,
It's the
it's
smoker.
a smoker, yeah. Yeah, we're doing arancinis. So, like, deep fried risotto balls with pork ragu and mozzarella. And
So glad it's my cheat
Parmesan.
day. I'm going to eat like 4 of those.
And then we're also doing a gin cocktail that we have on the menu at Firewall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, but they're great opportunities. Those guys are amazing. They've been so cool to work with over the years.
Yeah.
It's just another opportunity for new people to get eyes on us and maybe try something and go, oh, this is the kind of food you guys are doing? That's really cool. I want to come check it out.
Yeah, and I think to parlay into that, and it's important for people to hear this from your mouth. I just did a blog on it on LinkedIn on the aspect of, I don't want to say like, oh, poor restaurant, but how tough it is to go out there, pull employees, cook the food, as a chef and somebody that relies on reputation of something, that could be the first time somebody ever hears about you and they're tasting something, and it's like the whole antithesis of what you're doing is to get them to come to your restaurant. So, and now you're preparing stuff away from, your home, from your kitchen. So explain to people how...
It's a daunting task, right? Like we have to make close to 1,500 samples for people, right? So first off, it's expensive.
Yeah, you don't get paid for this.
We get a small stipend to help with costs, and one of the local vendors is donating some alcohol, but neither cover the expense of it. So it's a big cost. It's a huge prep, depending on what you're making, right? But my guys at Hush have been making risotto for the last 4 days and pork ragu and stuffing and portioning and doing all this stuff. So it's like it takes up almost a week of prep just to get it done on top of their normal stuff. And then, like you said, I have to pull staff out on a Saturday to staff the event also, right? So it puts a little bit of stress on the restaurants, but we do it, A, because it's fun, B, it's good experience. It's for, the line cooks, some of the staff who get to go and do it. It's a nice break from the monotony of working the line. Right. And it's good exposure.
And it's probably where you meet all the Canadians because the weather's nice and they all buy food as this.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's it's important for people to know that, because I think a lot of times people will go to these food festivals and they just kind of take for granted, the fact that you're really there to promote yourself, to get them to come in your 4 walls.
Yeah. And I mean, there's still a lot of people there who couldn't care less, and they're there for a good time, and they get drunk and then they go hit Old Town after, but we did this event last year with them. It was a great turnout, and we did see some business from it, and people were like, oh, we saw you guys at Salt River Field and we wanted to come check you out. So
yeah, and it's going to sell. I think it's sold out again this year, so I mean, congratulations to those guys for sure. What was it? What was maybe not the moment, but why become a chef? Why not a firefighter? You were in the U.S. Marine Corps. Thank you for your service. And so were you cooking there? Or?
No. I did flight operations for F-18s.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't, kicking down doors or, I was too big of a target. I was like, I scored really well on the ASVAB to get in. They're like, you can have any job. I was like, I want to be able to go to school and still serve and travel, and I got to. I spent a year in Okinawa. I went to Thailand, Australia, Korea. I did one tour in Iraq, Hawaii. So I traveled a lot. Yeah. I have some friends who spent 4 years in Yuma, right? So
oh, man.
I had a really good experience. I got out in 2006 and started going to ASU and to finish up my degree, and was just like, in an auditorium with 300 19-year-olds, and I'm 23 at the time, and I was just like, this is not for me. I don't want to do this. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I did start working as a loan officer. This is back.
I can't see that, Dom. The loan officer.
I'm sitting in a cubicle that's the same size I am, doing subprime mortgages, making no money, and then the whole mortgage world crumbled right then, right? So I wasn't making any money, so I was serving part-time front of house. I'd always worked in restaurants in high school. Okay. And my office was on the 5th floor of the Scottsdale Galleria in Old Town Scottsdale. Yeah. And Le Cordon Bleu was on the 3rd floor.
Oh my God, I forgot about that place. Yeah.
And so I used to just kind of walk through there, going to grab lunch during the day or whatever, and I'd pop my head in and see all these dudes with beards and tattoos playing with knives and fire.
You're like, wait a minute.
That looks super cool. I want to do that. And I've always loved cooking. I grew up watching Food Network and all that stuff. So I was just like, I'm going to do it. So I quit and enrolled in Le Cordon Bleu, and I've been doing it since.
And did you have a tattoo prior to that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I got my first tattoo at 17. So,
Okay.
I've always had tattoos. And so it was a good fit. And I love the fast pace. I love the camaraderie. I was a team sport guy. I always played football or baseball, basketball. In the Marines, it's always, you're close with your squad and all that stuff. So it's just like you have all that stuff in a kitchen. And so it resonated with me, and I enjoyed it.
Were you picked first because you were so big all the time, or?
Sometimes.
Yeah. So you're in there, you're learning how to cook, and then was LGO your first chef job?
Oh, no. I mean, from graduating, I moved out to New York and worked at BLT Prime for Laurent Torrendale, big steakhouse in New York City.
Yeah.
And then after I moved back, then I went to Zinc Bistro, worked for Matt Carter.
Okay.
Yep, and I was there for a couple of years. And then I took a job as a sous chef for Wildfish.
Yeah.
And like Eddie V's back when those guys still had it. Then I opened my own food truck for a little bit and hated that. But so sold that, went back to work, and then I went to work for Charlene at F&B.
Okay. Yeah.
And then was there for a little while, but I was back to being a line cook, and just was I was engaged at the time to a different lady and needed to make some money, and so that's when I left F&B and took a job as a sous chef at Chelsea's Kitchen.
Okay.
And then I was quickly promoted to executive chef, and then I opened Ingo's, and then they transferred me out to LA. I took over the Misfit in Santa Monica, opened Ingo's Diner on Wilshire, and then was like their regional chef for California.
Yeah.
And then that's when Holly and I kind of got real serious. And we're like, all right, we want to move back home. We don't want to start a family in California.
Right.
So came back and went back to Chelsea's Kitchen for a couple of years, helped over at Buck and Ryder, oversaw the airport locations for a little while. And then, that's when, we started looking seriously for spaces.
Yeah.
Went up north to help my friend Ronnie work at the butcher shop she owns, the meat market.
Yeah.
And then we opened Hush.
You put the reps in, man.
Oh, for sure.
Put the reps in.
For sure.
Yeah. That's cool. What would you say, now that you have two little boys, is the biggest difference in your schedule? Like, what's some of your non-negotiables now between work and making sure that you get home in time to have some time with the boys and with Holly and all that?
Right now, my schedule's pretty flexible. Right, I'm able to kind of come and go as I please. If I've got something important going on, or like this weekend, we have Brent from Sonora and Pasta and I are doing like a pop-up at Hush for
nice.
like a pasta dinner.
Okay.
So stuff like that. I schedule when it's convenient for those things, because I already do get to spend so much time with the boys. I'm home, I make dinner for them, I put Hank to bed. But there's things like going to the gym or jujitsu that are kind of non-negotiables, because I'm doing it for myself, but I'm not doing it for them.
You got to take care of yourself.
Right. So, but for the most part, like I'm home with them as much as I can be.
Would you say that's the definition of success? Is being
100%.
Yeah.
I have the ability to spend time where and how I choose.
Yeah, and because of the energy that you have given to others to control their own destinies within the four walls that you've created, it allows you to be free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And congrats on your purple belt.
Thank you.
So what's next?
So then it's brown, then black.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been doing jiu-jitsu 6 years now.
Tell me about the art of that. And have you fought Maynard yet?
No.
No. Is it even called fighting? Because it seems to be the most friendly of the martial arts that there is.
Yeah, it's called the gentle art of folding clothes while people are still in them. But it's definitely, in my 40s, I definitely am sore the next day. Sometimes I get home and feel like I've been in a car accident.
Yeah.
So it's not super gentle, but it's a lot of fun. It's very difficult, and it's a journey, right? You're not getting your black belt in a couple of years, right? I've been training for 6 years and consistently, and it takes a long time.
Quite an accomplishment. You have to be really excited. I saw your son was in the picture with you.
Yeah. They had like a little holiday party, and they did a belt promotions after we ate and all that stuff. And so I walked up to go get my belt from my coach. And Hank, my son, just started running up like, "Where you going? I'm coming with you." So.
For sure. I know that there's no typical days for anybody, but what's kind of a typical non-negotiable, day for Dom? Like, what are the things that, like, you wake up, you have your coffee, or do you have to do the kids wake you up, or you go for a walk? Like, what?
Yeah, the kids usually are up first, so I get up, and then like I hit the gym at like 9, back home at 10. I'm usually answering emails, returning phone calls, stuff like that until about 11:30. The chefs and stuff start showing up at the restaurants at noon.
Okay.
So depending on what we got going on, if we're changing menus or we got just stuff to talk about, I'll pop in, check in, everything's good, you guys need anything, and then run whatever errands I need to for the house or for work, if I need to go pick some product up or drop something off. And then, I'm at the grocery store grabbing stuff to make dinner. With Hank, we eat pretty early, so we eat around 5.
Okay.
And then, depending if I'm at the restaurant that night, I'll go back and say hi to some folks in the dining room and make my rounds. And then I'm usually home by 8 to tuck the kids in.
It's got to feel good when you go in there and you have your regulars and the staff loves to see you, and it's a lot better than being the dick that nobody wants to see.
Like, oh shit, Jeff's here.
Shit, that guy's
Lock it up, turn the music down.
Yeah, I mean, when I first met you, I was fucking scared of you. I was like, and for no reason, no other reason. You're just a big dude with tattoos. But man, you gave me that biggest bear hug, and you're just the nicest, gentlest soul. It's cool. We've been friends for the 6 years, So, no, it's a lot of fun. What would you say? Okay, so it's obvious. There's a lot going on in the hospitality industry and the aspect of what you brought up earlier. So a lot more competition, right? There's a lot of people in Arizona specifically that are coming out here from all other, places in the United States. And I think part of that reason is, number one, this is a great place to live. Yep. Both aesthetically and I think monetarily. It's not too high, not too low. It's just, and it's clean and, it's good in that aspect. The weather is obviously pretty good most of the time. So you take all that into consideration, and you really want to get the attention of people to be able to, I guess you can kind of say, share the wealth. Like, you want people to enjoy local places, enjoy your friends. You have a lot of great friends. I have a lot of great friends, all the same friends that have great restaurants. Like, in an ideal world, if we had like endless stomachs, and endless bank accounts, we'd go to all these places and support everybody. So that being said, as things get bigger and it gets tighter and it gets harder, are there ambitions to do more because you're so good at what you're doing now, or are you just really focused on the 2 locations that you have right now?
For me, I'm just focused on the 2, but not so much because of the industry or restaurants or stuff like that. It's more so that I'm home with the kids and helping out and, with a newborn and all that stuff. So I want to be more present at home with that. And I haven't decided like what it is I want to do next. I don't know what I have to say, right? I don't want to just open something for a profit.
Yeah,
right?
It's an art.
So, yeah, I kind of got to figure out, because I have so many different interests across the food genre, and so I really want the next thing I do to kind of be something I'm passionate about.
I don't know what I have to say yet. Dude, you couldn't, that is a really well put. That really resonates.
No, thank you.
No, seriously, because there's people out there that are restaurateurs that are restaurateurs in the definition, but they're just out to make a profit. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, it's a business, right?
Yeah, of course.
And obviously, of course, you want to make a profit. You got to support a family. You got to support employees. You want to do what you love. But for you, it's kind of like the ink on your body. It's an art. It's something that it really has to resonate, and it has to be something that you're in love with.
Yeah, and in full transparency, like I've done that, and it didn't work out. Right, I've closed restaurants that I wasn't super passionate about it. I thought it was a smart move. I thought it financially would be make sense. So I've kind of learned my lesson there.
Yeah.
And so now I just, I kind of need to like take a step back, see what's going on in the area, see what other people are doing, what not to do, and just kind of not find my voice again, but find something important to say and worth my time.
Okay. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So I'm Rick. I just got out of Cordon Bleu, right? And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm gonna fire this up, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fire this up. And I come to you, and I'm gonna go sign a lease at a place. What's the one thing you're gonna tell me?
Stop. Go work. Go work for some chefs. Go
Yeah.
see if you really love it. Right? There's so many guys that go to culinary school and they get out thinking they're going to be like head chefs. It's like,
Yeah.
oh man, you're starting at the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? Like, work at a job. And I say do that before you go to culinary school, right? See if you even, because culinary school is expensive. See if you like the environment. See if like the industry is for you. Because so many people, I think there might be 3 people from my graduating culinary class that are still in the industry
Oh,
out
wow.
of like 60. So it's not for everybody, and it's a hard business and not great margins, and
Yeah.
you can make a good living, but it's definitely tough out there for independent
Yeah.
chef-owned restaurants.
Yeah. I mean, neither is you can make a hard living being a musician too, but I mean, you can.
You got to love what you do.
You really do, and the thing is, just like food, I mean, you may have the most ideal dish that you're like, this is my best dish ever, and somebody may look at it and be like, this tastes like shit.
And that's happened to me.
And it's the same with music. I mean, I could listen to one thing and be like, I don't really like it, and somebody else listen to it and be like, oh my god, it's the greatest song ever.
Right.
Yeah, it's all. What do they say? I guess it's how you perceive it within yourself.
Right.
Yeah. So nothing wrong with that. Okay. One last question before rapid fire. What does it take to cook a really good steak?
You have to start with a really good steak. Right? So my preference is a ribeye, prime grade,
Okay.
2-inch cut, and then I tend to let it sit out and come to room temperature,
Okay.
so it cooks evenly. Salt, black pepper, cast iron skillet, ripping hot. Build a crust, sear it for 2 sides, flip it, another 2 minutes in the oven, 450 for like 4 minutes. Take it out, let it rest. Put it back in the pan with some butter, some herbs, some garlic, baste it, and then slice it.
Oh, sounds so good. It's almost lunchtime. Is there any? Let me say. Is there a big difference in the aspect of grass-fed, grass-finished?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Like, all beef is grass-fed. Grass-finished just means like cram it full of corn and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I prefer because it adds fat.
Yeah.
It adds there's sweetness to it. A full-on 100% grass-fed beef, it's got a little game to it.
Yeah.
You definitely know the difference. It tends to be a little leaner. It's definitely healthier. But I'm okay eating, if I'm eating a steak, like I want it to taste good and I want fat in it.
100%. Yeah.
But some people prefer the other route.
Yeah.
Just not me.
There you go. Hey, that's all that matters. Yeah, you're the one eating it. Okay, some rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Okay. Thundercats or He-Man?
Oh, both Thundercats.
All right. AC/DC or Van Halen?
AC/DC.
Okay. Queen or Elton John?
Queen. I mean, I love me some Rocket Man, but we're going to go with Queen.
Beer or whiskey?
Whiskey.
All right. Cook yourself a meal or cook it for yourself? Or, I'm sorry, cook yourself a meal or go out and get a cooked meal?
Cook for myself.
Okay. Bigfoot or aliens?
Aliens.
Oh, wait, I got an alien thing here.
Nice.
I used some of the buttons today. Cereal or toast?
Toast now, cereal when I was a kid.
Yeah. I'm craving cereal. I told you my cheat meals on Saturday. I think I'm going to have a bowl of cereal before I go out to the event. Matchbox cars or action figures?
Action figures.
Yeah, definitely. Email or text?
Text.
You're like, neither. Leave me alone. And knife or fork?
Oh, knife.
Yeah, 100%. Dude, it's awesome. All right, so where can I'm going to put all your stuff in show notes or whatever. So please go visit Dom's restaurants. Let's let's get some new people in there to discover all the magic that you're creating and just enjoy the environment. And I've been to your restaurant several times, and the food isn't obvious. You wouldn't go back there if the food wasn't good, but the staff just amazing. Like they really love what they do, and they get to know you and they take care of you. So
awesome.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate
this.
It's been a long time coming, and we got it done. And I'll see you on Saturday. So until next time, everybody, thanks for listening to On the Delo. Please subscribe and follow, and peace out.